Good evening, miss.
Oh my god, no. Please, Mr. Vampire, don't kill me. Please, no. I'm too young to die. I still have so much to offer this world.
Wait, no. Why do you think I would... What?
Don't worry, Dr. Reed. I know you wouldn't harm me. Mother told me you were in this part of town and might drop by.
Your mother?
My name is Charlotte, sir. Charlotte Ashbury. My mother taught me long ago how to recognize the signs that betray a vampire.
I understand she also taught you how to tease and gently mock innocent young Ekons. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Charlotte. What do you think about this part of town?
I was raised here, and I suppose it feels like home. You grew up in this part of town too, did you not?
Yes, I was born a few streets away.
A small world, is it not? Did you ever imagine that my mother was your neighbor all that time? That you could have met her in a dark alley at night?
You won't trick me twice, young lady. We both know Lady Ashbury never hunts or attacks prey at random.
Come on, Doctor. Don't tell me you never thought about that possibility. Her fangs on your neck. Oh, are you blushing, Dr. Reed?
Is there something that's bothering you?
Too much selfishness and individualism for my taste. Even when there was no epidemic.
Even if that's partly true, may I remind you that many charitable institutions are financed by the selfish and filthy rich.
I suppose you're right. But society must reform and renew itself, or we are all done for.
What are you doing out here?
You mean, what do I do outside at night, since I am a woman? Let me ask you a question, sir. Would you ask the same question of a man?
Actually, yes. I ask the same question to everyone who dares to go outside at night, considering the risks.
Well, if you must know, I campaign for the right to vote for all women. Why should I wait to the age of 30 years when men can vote at 21?
Are you a suffragette, then? Oh, you really are Elizabeth's girl. Without a doubt.
All adult women have the right to vote in the US, in New Zealand, and in Australia. But women here can't vote unless they are property owners.
No need to convince me, Miss Charlotte. I have shared your opinion for a long time. Even before I met Emmeline Pankhurst.
Really? Oh. Now I see why my mother appreciates you so much. Too bad there aren't more men like you in the vicinity.
How are the locals reacting to your claims?
People here can't wait for a wall to be built to isolate the West End from the rest of town. That's how progressive they are. If this happens, Emily and I will blow it up.
Explosives are very dangerous, young lady. And who is this Emily?
She is my best friend, and a suffragette too. She was supposed to campaign with me tonight, but hasn't turned up.
Have you any reason to be worried about her?
Recently, Emily started to believe in... well, she got interested in vampires. I'm afraid she might be in trouble.
Let me guess. You spoke to her about us, didn't you? Despite your mother's warning. I think I should try to find your friend.
Oh, that would be top-notch. I can tell you where she might have gone. You have my thanks, Dr. Reed. And please, don't tell my mother.
Tell me about your adoption.
What do you want to know?
Who are your real parents?
Elizabeth Ashbury is my real mother. She raised me and has taken care of me all my life. I have no idea who my progenitors are or were.
Do you live with her?
I still spend a lot of time in my mother's mansion, but I have my own house now. I have a life to live, you see. And one day, I'll have my death to face.
How did you meet Lady Ashbury?
First, I was an orphan in the institution for girls she manages in the West End. When I was 10, she adopted me, and I have lived with her ever since.
Did you know she was a vampire when she picked you?
The correct word is Ekon, Doctor. And no, I had no idea why my mother only showed up at night. She told me everything when I turned 16, though I suspected the truth for a long time before that.
What exactly has your mother told you about me?
Your name and profession, obviously, and the mystery about your maker. I'm sorry to hear about what happened to your sister, sir. Mother says it was not your fault.
Does it not scare you to know what I am? What your mother is?
Why should it? My mother is the most compassionate woman. Must I be wary of her, Dr. Reed? Or you?
Of course not. You have nothing to fear from me, or your mother.
Good to know. And don't worry, my mother told me everything I need to know about vampire tricks, their nature as well as features.
Your mother is not like any other vampire I've met.
I believe she thinks the same about you, Dr. Reed.
Do you know why Lady Ashbury chose you to become her daughter?
No, I don't. Each time I ask her that question, she smiles and says it's precisely because I dare to ask such questions.
Do you ever regret that she chose you?
Of course not. Though I often wonder if she adopted others before me. If so, where are they buried? How was it for them to pass through life with a never-aging mother?
Why do you still hope to become a vampire in spite of your mother's refusal?
It's the immortal aspect of vampires that interests me. The world won't improve unless women take charge. I'm convinced of that.
You're obviously a clever woman with a good education and a brilliant future. But have you thought about the price you'd have to pay? The loneliness, the necessary masquerade.
Is it not true of every high position? To change this world and make it a better place, one needs time on one side.
Your mother has refused to turn you into a vampire. Tell me more about it.
Each time we argue, Mother expresses the same fear. She wants me to remain alive and full of joy, rather than become melancholy and immortal. She claims you can't have one without the other. It's pure selfishness.
It's your mother's choice. As daughters and sons, we have to accept the decisions our parents make for us despite our own wishes.
I love my mother, and have accepted everything from her. Even that she named me Charlotte, when it was not my original name.
Does it bother you?
No. Whoever I was when I was born, I am now Charlotte Ashbury. It hurts as much as it makes me proud to know that's the name my mother will read on my tombstone.
Your mother has walked this earth for much longer than you or I. She is wise, and we should not ignore her advice when we disagree with it.
But why shouldn't I be allowed to forge my own experience? There can't be only one righteous way to deal with eternity.
Tell me, Charlotte, how do you plan to achieve eternal life, since you've obviously given it a lot of thought?
I won't give up. You have no idea how determined I am, sir. I may contract a deadly disease. I may throw myself under a carriage just to be saved by her sweet kiss.
That's a disturbing answer, young lady. And the worst part of it is, I know you speak the truth.
There are less dangerous ways, Doctor. Instead of throwing myself under a horse like Emily Davison, I could just throw myself into your arms.
Be careful what you wish for, young lady. I could gaze at you right now and then take you to a shady corner and have my way with you. And leave your carcass to the rats.
You wouldn't dare. My mother would know. She'd never forgive you.
How could she suspect me? Do you know how many vampires are lurking in the city tonight as we speak? Vampires with a worse sense of humor than mine.
Oh, my God. For one second I thought you actually... Excellent, Dr. Reed. Very convincing.
Goodbye, Charlotte. Give my best regards to your mother when you see her.
She's been quite busy these last few nights. I suspect you may see her before me.
Waiting for you to let your guard down.
Good evening, sir. May I have your attention, please?
Come on, Johnny. Don't you recognize your oldest friend?
Clarence. Clarence Crossley. How are you? My God. So you survived the war too. So sorry I didn't recognize you at first.
I almost didn't recognize you either. War does that to men, I heard. In my case, it was true, for I witnessed the horror that lies underneath.
When did you escape the war and return to London?
You know what's funny? I almost never think about the war. Not anymore. I'm involved in another kind of battle now.
I know what you mean. I haven't had much time to think about the war either since my return.
Of course. With the epidemic, I bet you've been busy as well. Forgive me, Johnny, I didn't want to sound selfish.
What is this new battle?
I saw terrible things during the war. Horrors I thought I'd forget. They're here too. They're everywhere. Vampires.
How is your wife, Venus?
We've spent so much time away from each other. So many things have happened.
But you're alive. You returned in one piece and you have a family. How many soldiers can say the same?
Believe me, it's not quite that simple. Unlike you, I'm not the man I used to be.
Is everything all right at home? Surely Venus was relieved to see you return from France in one piece.
Have you forgot what people are like in this part of town, Johnny? Venus fears for our family reputation. Now her husband has become the village idiot.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep. Hello? Is anyone there?
Jonathan, is that you? I did not know you were back in London. Oh, my dear Johnny, I'm so sorry for your loss. Mary was such a sweetheart.
Thank you, Venus. May I come in?
I was going to bed, actually.
Forgive me.
I'll tell you what. Come back tomorrow for tea. I'll be glad to see you then.
Connect me to this city anymore.
We meet again, Mr. Kimura. In a more peaceful situation.
Dr. Reed.
We must both be nocturnal animals, you and I. After your captivity...
Breathing the cold night air helps calm my mind, sir. I've had the most frightening...
May I ask you what you do for a living, Mr. Kimura?
I am... I was a landlord. A wealthy one. And not a very kind one, I realized recently.
Why this sudden epiphany? Is it because of your near-death experience?
I was already feeling nostalgic about Weymouth, my hometown. With recent events, I'm thinking about going back there.
How is the situation in the West End?
I've heard rumors about armed men patrolling and fighting infected citizens in these very streets. I was lucky they didn't shoot me when I was abducted.
Why are you so nostalgic for your hometown, Tadao?
I was focused so much on making money, I almost forgot that my relatives and friends are threatened by this epidemic.
Have you heard anything from your family?
I was not only a bad landlord, I was also a bad husband. I've not seen my wife and son for years. Busy, busy, busy.
At least now you're ready to go back and see them. But don't be surprised if your son bears a grudge, sir.
You make it sound like you suffered from an absent father yourself, Dr. Reed. Well, I'll keep your warning in mind.
Have you no friends at all?
Over the years, I'm afraid my greed turned me into my friend's adversary, while I became friends with my professional rivals.
Those you grew up with didn't share your views on money and success.
Would you believe I was once a member of poetry circles and an astronomy club? We were young, such joyful dreamers then, that I stopped laughing long ago.
Can you change? And is it what you really want? If so, it must come from within, not without.
I've seen what an altruistic gesture can do. Nothing forced you to save me, Dr. Reed, but you did. I will follow your example in these matters from now on.
There is no need to thank me. Rescuing a London citizen should not be out of the ordinary. Though I'm afraid it may appear so in these difficult times.
You did not only rescue me, you fought for me. You put your life in danger to save me. That's quite extraordinary.
How will you cope if you're attacked again?
I don't know. I've heard about these men and women who patrol the West End every night, chasing criminals like my abductor. Maybe I should join them.
What can you tell me about your abduction?
If you really want to know, I was locked in that building for 3 or 4 days. My jailer was insane, mumbling about sacrifice and voices.
And why didn't he sacrifice you?
That was the weirdest part. He claimed to spill blood was not enough. It had to be done when some stars were aligned.
Which stars?
That's the whole point. He wanted me to talk to him about some Red Queen configuration or constellation. I've never heard of such an astronomical term.
What did he say about voices?
He constantly whined about the voice of his master, ordering him to do terrible things. He wanted to silence the voice by offering blood. My blood.
Tell me, Tadao, why was your abductor so interested in your passion for astronomy?
I dunno. We met a few times at the Royal Greenwich Observatory. He seemed to share my hobby. Then he invited me to his house and locked me in.
Yes, astronomy is a fascinating subject. When I was a child, my mother bought a small telescope for my sister and I. We spent many a pleasant evening stargazing.
Stars are not just dots in the sky, Doctor. They are the key to our understanding of the cosmos. They remind us how insignificant we are.
You're right. But children love magic and stories. I remember our mother told us constellations have the power to protect us.
Protection by the light of the stars. That's sweet. You remember the name of these constellations?
Pegasus. It was the constellation my mother liked the most.
Memory's a strange thing. I can recite without hesitation the names of the 88 constellations, yet I barely remember my own childhood.
Did he fake his interest in astronomy to get close to you?
No. In his madness, he spoke about a blood sacrifice to be made to his master when the stars aligned to a specific configuration.
Goodbye, Mr. Kimura. Take care.
Is there anything to connect me to this city anymore?
Good evening, old chap.
I won't lie to you, Johnny.
Clarence, why have you distributed leaflets about vampires all across the West End?
I have to warn everybody about them. They've killed thousands of people already, unnoticed thanks to the epidemic. We are all in danger here.
Vampires in London? Come on, Clarence. Who's going to believe that?
I'm not mad, Jonathan. You have to believe me. I know they are real. They're all around us, even as we speak.
Clarence, you've always been a reliable and a good friend to me. If you say you saw a vampire, then I believe you.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for your trust. You don't know what that means to me.
It's all right. But if you want my help, you have to explain exactly what happened.
The first time it was in Rouen. I saw an officer drink the blood of a soldier. I saw its teeth, saw it bite. It was a vampire, Johnny, and they're here too.
Tell me what you have discovered about vampires, Clarence.
They've always been here. And if you search for long enough, you realize others know about these devils too. I'm not alone.
Have you shared your research with anybody else?
No. But I've published my leaflets all across the city, hoping that someday someone will realize I'm printing the truth.
What do you mean you're not alone? Who have you met?
The Guard of Prewin, the Brotherhood of St. Paul Stole, Ichabod Throgmorton. Those names always pop up when you dig deep enough.
Have you spoken with any of them?
No. With the quarantine, it's almost impossible to leave the West End. But as a doctor, maybe you could, Johnny.
Are you asking me to help you prove the existence of vampires, Clarence?
Yes, Johnny. Please, gather all the information you can find about vampires and bring it to me. You're the only friend I have left. I need you.
Clarence, tell me about the vampire you saw in France.
I was enjoying my leave in Rouen. I left the bar, took a shortcut back to the barracks. I saw it in a back alley. An officer in a stained uniform, biting into a soldier's neck.
But you were drunk, weren't you? Are you sure these two men were not just kissing?
Please don't insult me, Johnny. I hid, and I saw him leave. Then I saw the body, drained of all blood. I've seen the same marks here in London since I've returned.
Did you ever see that officer again?
No. He wore the uniform of the Royal Warwickshire Regiment. I did some research, but found no trace of him. He probably stole it from a previous victim.
These are the documents you wanted me to look for. I think I've gathered all the available occult research about vampires.
Oh, thank you, Johnny. That'll help me separate the myths from the facts.
I'm not sure you can consider this material factual, but it's yours now. What do you intend to do with it?
First, I'm going to show them to Venus. It'll open her eyes and make her understand the importance of my mission.
You need some rest, Clarence. You should try to sleep. Good evening, miss. Can I help you? I'm a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
I am Karina Billow. I don't need any doctor. The rats. Where are the rats?
Miss, you don't seem well at all. Are you afraid of rats? Has one bitten you?
No, it's me who bites them. Tasty, juicy, disgusting rats. I can't stop eating them. Help me, please. Help me to disobey the voice.
What happened to you?
The rats. The answer hides in their little crunchy bones. Their juicy, tiny brains.
Miss Billow, please, try to concentrate. Why do you worry about rats so much?
The voice in my head. He forces me to do so. Drink their blood, he said. Eat their flesh.
Do you feel compelled to obey that voice, Miss Billow? Even if you're loath to submit to it?
Yes. Please. Help.
Tell me about the voice in your head. Who is it? Can you describe it? Is it someone you know? Someone you met?
Keep your mouth shut, he said. Don't ever speak about me, or I'll abandon you. Help me, please, Doctor.
What is the local news hereabouts, Miss Billow?
Shadows. Shadows hunting shadows. Whispers in the dark. Pestilence. Suffering. Death.
Tell me about yourself, Miss Billow. What do you do for a living?
Oh, I'm hungry. Need to eat. Have you got something for me? Blood, perhaps? Can you give me blood, Dr. Reed?
Don't you remember who you are, miss? What you did for work?
I was strong, proud. I campaigned for good causes. But that was before. Before. It does not matter anymore. I'm so hungry.
I must go now. Goodbye, Miss Billow.
You make me sick. You juicy, warm treat. Damn it! Oh my! What have we got here? A dead rat. Oh, so gross. So tempting. Eternal life. Through the blood of the lesser beasts, he said. Oh, dear God, help me. Save me, for I can't stand what I've become.
Why do you eat rats, Karina?
Their flesh contains the path to immortality. I have to eat them all if I want to live. Help me. Please. Make it stop.
I don't know if I can, miss. You have been tricked, forced to play a disgusting game. I don't know how to save you.
Kill me then, Doctor. Take my life. I beg you.
If that's really what you want. Is it really what you want, Miss Billow?
No, it's not what I want. I wanted to live forever, but I've been tricked. Now I want this torture to stop. So, yes, sir. Make it stop.
I must go.
vote is only the first step. Women die too in this war!